what's going on, everybody? The Boxing Sword Second in here, and I'm with the legend, my brother here, Coach Barry Hunter. Headbangers in the building. What's going on, Coach?
Man, slow motion. How you doing?
All good, man. I know you've been, handling things here at Headbangers. I know we had something that went down on November 22nd. You did have Nasheed Smith and Deric Scooter Davis on that Jeter Promotions card in Hanover, Maryland. They're able to take care of business, and hey, they're gonna be right back at it again here within a couple months. So how are things going here in the camp?
Man, things been love. Shout out to Jeter, Tony and his wife, you know what I mean, for putting these shows on, man. They do a very, very, very good job down there at Maryland Live Casino, and the venue is, venue is very, very nice, we really appreciate them. Scooter and Nasheed, they've been rolling pretty good, Shout out to Top Rank too. And they've been making sure that definitely Scooter, been on that trajectory, man. And I like what I see.
Yeah, they had put the thing in for Scooter there. Once they had him signed, and they said they put him active. We seen him in Norfolk, we seen him in the card at the Care First Arena, and then we see him, once again here at Maryland Live. So they're like, hey man, if you wanna be active, we'll make it happen for you. And they definitely been doing a great job in doing that. So shout out to Brad Goodman, Bruce Trampler, Bob Bear, all the folks there at Top Rank, with having Scooter there behind Top Rank.
Yes, sir. Beautiful. Like I say, you look at Top Rank's history as far as developing, world champion. Look how many and who's on that list. Outstanding list of fighters, historical fighters. So I definitely I know he in good hands. So I'm happy.
Yeah, for sure. I think Bob Arum recently celebrated, what was it, 94th birthday and things like that. So hey, he's still going strong.
I saw. It's crazy. It's been a few years now, but there was a few years gap since I saw Bob in the Top Rank family, and I never forget this. It was funny to me. It was on the undercard of Terrence Crawford and Benavidez. So that was in Omaha, if I'm not mistaken, right? We had a young man fighting on that card, and so Carl Moretti came over and he told me to go, holler at Bob. Mind you, I hadn't seen Bob in a few years. I know Bob is older now, you know what I mean? And so when I went over there to see him, I would just say, Bob is Barry. Before I got it out of my mouth, first thing he said, hey, Barry, how's it going? And just let me know how sharp. Body may not be the same, but his mind, man, at that age, that's crazy, man. His mind is sharp.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, he has that, knowledge of boxing and everything like that.
And I can say this too, in the earlier days when we were first really starting out good, and of course you had all kinds of issues you had to go through. Bob would always be there, a couple of times personally to go to bat for us in some of those situations, man. So I'll never forget that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, he has that, care first, approach to a lot of things there, and that's how he's able to, stay, within the business and be able to, work with a lot of fighters, trainers, managers there for so long. I mean,
no question.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you, Coach Barry, for working with us all these years.
Yeah, like I say, personally, he went to bat for us, so, when there's nobody else hears, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So I never forget that, and I'm always down for, giving problems and looking out for people and looking out for me.
Yeah, that's all it's about. Sport, especially in the boxing community, that's what you need here. What I mean? Is those to, be able to do, what they can for you, and you're able to do what they can for them. It's pretty much, like I said, camaraderie on that front. Now we going back here with the fighters. They got something coming up here for February. Should be February 21st. They're back at it once again. So like I said, we back in camp here at Headbangers, and you have a number of other fighters here that's working with them. So how is it to kind of have a number of these young fighters come in and train and get prepared, whether it's for the amateurs or the pros?
Oh yeah, it's always, that's what we've been all about over these, I don't know how many years now, but you know, our base has always been based upon the youngsters. I mean, typically we get them when they, you know, little kids, and just raise them. You know what I mean? Even Boogie Patrice Harris, Boogie was maybe 18. I think maybe 18 when I first started coaching him. He's 53 now. You know what I mean? You saw Coach Joshua, Mo Parker, just walked out the door. He was 5. He was 35 now. You know what I mean? So most of them are lifers. So we get them when they're young, you know, grow them up in the program. And some of them come back and help the program out, you know, and that's how we were able to sustain ourselves all these many years.
Yep, man. You know, with Coach Bug, I mean, I think either it was last month or like a couple months ago, he posted like a video from back in the day when he was doing this thing in the ring and stuff like that. So I mean, yeah, he was definitely nice, and and a lot of people know about, you know, him being here at Headbangers right now. But like he was getting them, you know, in the ring when he was active too. So he kind of like had that, you know, strong base here at the Headbangers gym and things like that.
No question, man. When he was a kid. Boogie was one of the best super heavyweights in the country, man. And that's one of his biggest regrets, that he didn't finish his mission. But, you know, lo and behold, a lot of times, man, you on a path that you think you should be on, but God got another plan for you. So the rest is history with him. He's done well for himself.
Yep, you know, follow God's plan, and he'll be able to direct you to where you need to go.
No question.
On that front.
No question.
Now, you talk about, you know, being in the boxing game for, you know, a very long time and things like that, and you know, some of the things has been going on here recently, like the whole landscape of boxing has been changing, you know, so to speak, and that it almost seems like there's almost like a shift in what's going on in boxing. What do you think about that?
I mean, it's 100% right. You know, of course, boxing as we knew it to be in the last several years, 20, 30 years, it's changed drastically. You know, I'm not sure it's for the better, you know what I mean? But I hold faith in the fact that if you look at boxing as a whole, you look at the history of boxing, even during the Great Depression, boxing has always found a way to bounce back.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yep.
I mean, and so I look at this as no different. You know what I mean? Right now it's in a funky place. You got a lot of people. You got a lot of athletes, world-class athletes, that's sitting on the sideline right now. You know what I mean? If you're not one of the big names in boxing, a lot of the other ones sitting on the sideline. You know what I mean? It don't mean they're not good fighters or good athletes. It's just that the opportunities are not what they were. And then you don't have a lot of the platforms we used to have, the HBOs, the Showtime, ESPN, USA, Fox TV, Bounce TV. You know what I mean? And so you pretty much, man, got to, you know, just try to get there, you know, the best way you can, you know what I mean? I feel fortunate because the ones that we have that's making noise, they still able to move, you know?
Yeah.
And that's where your local promoters really hold worth and value at right now, you know what I mean? Because they constantly have shows. It may not be the big shows that you used to, but nevertheless, it had to have a genesis. It had to have somewhere.
Yeah, it has to be a start.
Yeah, and so the way I figure, man, you know, these little cars, you got to get on them. You do what you need to do and just keep going. Because if you're sitting idly by, you know how that is. Man.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You're sitting there, and then finally when you get your shot, because you've been off so long, you know, it tend to be a problem. So, you know, like I said, man, wherever you can get on at, get on.
Yep, exactly. You know, shout out to, you know, local promoters, you know, regardless of where you're at, because, you know, like I said, it's one thing to, you know, like be in the gym, but it's a whole other thing to be in the gym and have a fight.
Yes.
You know, because you could have it to where you're in the gym for a very long time, and then when it's finally time that you have a fight, then you're almost like, as they might say, like worked out, or you haven't like necessarily say, you know what, let me do this specifically to be like, okay, this is what I need to do. This is, you know, situation I need to be in at this certain spot. You know, sometimes if you're not necessarily used to it, then you're like, you're doing something that kind of makes you uncomfortable. And you can't necessarily do that in the ring because, hey, like I said, it's like chess in the ring. You know, you don't want to make the wrong move, or you're gonna lose just like that. You feel
No
me?
question. It's a psych job, man. Because psychologically, like to your point, you know you gotta be in the gym. You know you gotta keep training. But on the flip side, what am I training for? You know what I mean? Ain't no fight for me on the horizon, and all the coach can do, you know, and the managers and coaches can do is to reach out to the promoters, you know, and try to get their fighter on the card. But it ain't no guarantee because there's so many. And then you got to factor in a lot of the promoters got their own fighters that they're trying to push.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just a real funky spot right now. You know what I mean? And I just say, you know, just hold on. You know what I mean? Because boxing, like I said, always been resilient. I always found a way to bounce back.
Always found a way, and you know, like you said, with the local promoters and the shows that they're
Gotta
doing,
support.
that's still you know keeping the sport alive.
Yeah,
and
you
things
have
like
to
that.
support them because it's a feeder system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you don't have that feeder system, you know, to draw from, just like baseball, minor leagues, you know, little league baseball, you know, woo football, youth football, going to high school, college pros. Boxing got to have the same type of system, man.
Exactly.
You feel me? And if you don't have that, then you got a watered down version of what it used to be. You know, you got people still running to their TVs and videos trying to pull up them fights that, you know, people still talking about to this day. You know what I mean? And so, there you go.
Yeah, you know, and that's the thing about it is being able to, you know, have those shows, but still, you know, have it to the point where if you do have these big events and things like that, that some of these fighters will be able to be ready, you know, for those things and stuff like that. So it gotta, you know, they gotta see if they can have that system to keep the sport going, because the way things may be going right now, I don't even know if you're gonna have that many opportunities, even on the local level.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
which is, if you're involved in the sport, really involved in the sport, be it a fighter, manager, coach, trainer, whatever, and that's kind of frightening, you know what I mean? Because, you know, there was a time where you knew that you can go to any gym, train, you so many promoters around, you could sign or fight or maybe get you a TV network to, you know, to show you or what have you. You just don't have those platforms no more.
Yeah.
You don't have them. And check this out. ESPN is a sports channel. Think about that for a minute.
Yeah.
ESPN is a sports channel.
Man, it is crazy because it's not just like a sports channel, a sports network. Like they got so many, you know, as they say, affiliate channels.
Yeah.
With that, you know, that focus on either college football or basketball, or other type
college
of stuff.
football, basketball, track and field,
field,
baseball,
all that type of stuff.
Cricket,
Yeah.
just soccer. I mean, you go on and on.
Yeah.
And even when we used to have a lot of the big fights going on then, when they did have boxing there, it was very rare that you got a chance to see footage of it. You know how they show, you know, footage of what happened in the game before?
Yep.
It was rare they showed that, you know, as far as boxing.
Yep, exactly. And yeah, you kind of like seen that kind of fizzle away when you had those last years there with ESPN and boxing, because it'll be like an event that's on ESPN, but it would kind of like be after, like, say for example, college football or something. So it's not like anything that gets people to lead into that particular event. So it's kind of like making it very tough here for the sport.
Making it tough here for the sport. But then we're not without fault either. You know what I mean? Because you got to get to the why. Why is it that way, right? You got to get the people quality fights, man. You feel me? You know what I mean? In order to give them quality fights, the teachers of boxing got to be better teachers in order to make a better fighter. You feel me? And I think all of us got a little hand to play in that. You know what I mean? So you don't want to, just me as a fan, I hate to see a fight that, say if you got a fight that's going a distance, if it's a back and forth, if it's based on skill and strategy, okay, I can dig that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But as far as just two cats in there, just, you know, kind of bouncing around, no activity.
Willing to engage.
Come on, man.
Yeah, you can't have nothing like that. I mean, you know, maybe something like what we had with Lamar Roach and Isak Cruz, that's, you know, pretty good.
Yeah,
So,
that was a
that's
good fight. Give me
fight.
I went the distance, but nevertheless, they fought.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You could do that. But I'm talking about just a lackluster performance. And to your point early on, you understand when you get these opportunities, you got to go. You know what I mean? Because there's no guarantee you're going to get another shot.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And so, yeah, those are the things I think we got to fix, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's a ongoing project.
And some of the crazy judging of some of these fights. You know what I mean? All that's got to be taken care of because it's turning the fan off.
Yeah, it turns fans off, like you said, with the bad scorecards and that type of thing. They got to fix that, you know, because you don't want it to be a negative towards the sport, and that people are talking more about the negative than the positive of the sport.
Negative than the positive.
You know what I mean? So that's what we got to work on.
And last but not least, not to cut you off, you got some of these guys that I watch train day in and day out, right? Every day they work hard, hold on, but never get the opportunities. Why? Because they're not connected with a certain person or connected with a certain networks. When the network became like promoters, it really, you know, kind of threw everything in a frenzy. So all of that got to be corrected, man. You know, as far as the talent is concerned, I'm seeing some talented young people in this game, man, and they still out there.
Yeah.
They just need a platform. They just need somebody to give them a shot.
Yeah, give them a shot. That's the thing. It's about giving them that opportunity. And sometimes if you don't have the connections, then you'll never get that opportunity. But I guess, you know, they'll have to get itself fixed up here later on down the line.
Ain't no question.
Yeah, no doubt. But of course, as always, you know, thanks for taking the time here to speak with the Boxing Source and having this conversation. You know what I mean?
You already know.
And definitely going to be catching you here, you know, while we have this next thing going on here for February over at Maryland Live.
It's about to be Sugar Sheed and Mr. Shock season time. Time to get it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.